Be evaluating
Dermatology.
dermatology. All
Yeah.
right. Let's see who is going first here. Chelsea, you are up first here, so I will hand it your way. And let's get started.
All right, dermatology. So let me jump right in. Another really important thing about CRO when you have a legacy brand like this is the technical debt. So I pulled a console poll, and there is a ton of errors that are happening on their typography in different scenarios. It's causing speed issues as well as some structural things. So I would address that first and foremost. Another thing that is interesting in the way that they are building on their shopping cart is they aren't using some of the latest tools, but just like it was said earlier with Cassie and with Chase, like when you have a legacy brand, you have to look at bigger things. You really have to dive in, like, what is it going to do? I noticed that they do have, their cashback side on Shop Pay, but they're not leveraging certain things in Shopify 2.0 checkout. And the other big thing I noticed in diving into their brand, like dermatology, like the whole goal is medicated skincare that helps improve. But the way that even their logo on mobile is showing, like, it is so small, and the way that they've done that, they should have a mobile specific lineup, as well as when they're moving down the page, they have tons of reviews of some of their larger pieces of bestsellers. But they're not consistent in some of their badges. So like in the way that this one obviously was on Cosmopolitan, they have different things here, but they're not specific to mobile. So when I pulled over on their desktop, you can read things a little bit better, but there's still a lot of gap and white space. So they're not leveraging the full structure of what we can use the internet for. One of the biggest things I always say when you're looking at CRO of a big brand is leverage it for internet use, but also make it a customer journey that makes sense. So is it easy to navigate? Is it less than 3 clicks to buy everywhere in their site? That's super important. And there was a few spots in here that they were not selective of simple add to cart scenarios. I also think in terms of their directions, because it's a medical grade skincare brand, you're looking at problems getting all the way to the cart that don't have more education through. So for example, this is one of their best sellers that I've actually bought this product. I know the things. When I load it, you notice there was a little video that just popped up and then it went away. And I think there is some not only speed issues, but there is more things that we're noticing on the technical side. I did like this before and after, but it's not dynamic in the way that was quite as intuitive. It was after I clicked it. So if you notice when I pulled it, then I could actually get it. It wasn't available to move at first. So it's just details like that that need to be tightened up, especially when it comes to development and coding. Other things as a brand, like these are all not specific to the brand in terms of their icon, and the text is a little bit small. So if you're going to use icons, which are so important for visualization, use them in a way that actually makes sense to the consumer. And then in terms of their tech stack, when I was looking at their built with and just pulled onto some of the pieces they have, they've done a lot of really good things. But one area of improvement on their quiz, they're talking about it like it's from a doctor, which is great. So you have this concept, like as a consumer, I'm about to dive in to talk with somebody that knows what they're doing, getting all the way through here. But as I dived into this whole process, not only were the codes happening on Google Console, but I was also noticing their actual to checkout as I was pulling what their results. It caused a barrier on some of the ways that we were skipping. So if I said skip on adding it, it didn't give me products. So this is like until a little bit later. You see that delay? So to me, I'm like, this is a perfect opportunity for your personalized experience and checkout to be, this is now what you're buying for you, but also how it's going to make it easier for the customer to engage with this. So it shouldn't be just a one product. It should be a bundle. It should be a whole set. It's where they should have their most engaged customer experiences. So
Perfect.
with that being said, there's a lot more we could talk about, but I'll stop there.
All right. Thank you, Chelsea. Nick, it's all yours.
All right. So going back, I again just wanted to see what they're running ads to. So they're running. So first of all, they're a huge brand. They get, if I just pull up SimilarWeb, they're getting about 1 million page views a month. I've never heard about the brand, but clearly it's a pretty big brand. If you click some of their ads, one goes to this 5 reasons why page, which is essentially a landing page of theirs. So right away on a landing page, I think there's just a lot of text. This right here is probably 15% of the page, which is just wasted. Also, their 5 reasons are all value props. So it talks about being a holy grail eye mask. It talks about dramatic results, but they're not necessarily fully benefits, and they also don't really reverse engineer what are the top things mentioned in reviews. Usually for listicles, I like to go and see what are the things that customers note in the actual reviews that they have said that they liked about it a lot, and then reverse engineer that to be your top 5 reviews. There's also CTAs here and reviews, which there's no CTA here other than this, which looks like a scam. So from a design standpoint, I think they've failed. The other place they go to a lot is this PDP, the barrier repair mask, and they have one other product that they push pretty heavily. Again, it's all, relatively wasted space. This top bar should be 1 line instead of 2. You've got a nav bar, then you've got a second nav bar, which sometimes can work well. So I'm not against that. But then you've got this discount thing that is very hard to read, especially on mobile. You get here, this is all wasted space. All of this white here is completely wasted space. Here, even more wasted space. This is basically the same thing as the first one. And again, here, completely wasted space. I'm a huge fan of turning PDP images into things that can actually be relevant to the customer. So here, they've taken the white space and put benefits at the top from a study, or they've just taken straight social proof, which is, I think, a great way to do it as well. When you get down here, there's no real reason you'd want to subscribe. I mean, it kind of mentions save 20%, but it doesn't really get you excited about that. Again, there's no reassurance here. They've got this risk-free guaranteed thing, but it should be written out. It shouldn't require another click. Every time somebody has to click, there's a good chance they're going to drop off. Everything down here is all value props. There's not one thing here that talks about benefits. And again, kind of like Chelsea mentioned, the icons. The iconography here, probably just stock icons. Whereas one thing we did with SoloWave is we actually created these custom icons that they have some animation, which just makes it a lot more fun for the consumer to go through, and it's just more eye-catching. One other thing I noticed is, so here's a good example of having social proof up top, as well as adding the set. And then not only the set, but over here, you can actually identify where in your skincare routine is this product. And then if you want to learn about the next step, you can easily go and add that product to the cart. So I think they just missed a lot of easy things. There's really no social proof here. There's not much credibility. Granted, they're a huge brand. They get 1 million page views a month. So people probably know the general thing that, they're legit, but, don't just tell me you've got 31 reviews and make me go read them all the way at the bottom. Start bringing that, incorporating that up at the top. I'll stop there.
All right. That's a tough one. Wow. Good luck, Aaron and Carolina.
Oh man. Gosh, you guys. I mean, flip a coin. You both nailed it. Truly. I mean, really, really great job. I'm going to do this on the fly because I actually don't know who my vote is going to. So I'm just going to you're going to hear me verbally kind of talk it out. Chelsea, I love that you started with kind of that technical debt conversation. I think that's a really, really smart approach to a huge brand. And I love how you kind of outlined that they're like table stakes, that they left some of that easy optimizations on Shopify 2.0, Shopify Plus checkout kind of on the table. To me, that was just, I love how you went right there because they're huge and they clearly know what they're doing. I actually bought their eye mask last night. Funny enough, I just had to say that out loud to this group. So I was kind of chuckling to myself as you guys were going through this. I definitely agree with you, Chelsea. There's a huge opportunity to kind of amplify the brand from, top of funnel all the way through, make it more about, not just about the value proposition of the products, but really about the brand itself, who they are, what they stand for. There's so much noise in this space. Not just beauty, but specifically skincare that shows medically proven results. So to me, that's huge. I'm being completely honest when I tell you last night, I was trying to dig into it myself just as a consumer, having no idea that this was going to be on the docket today. So I really love that you had shared that. Nick, I totally agree with you on that 5 reasons why landing page. There was just way too much text and clutter. And again, as a true consumer, that overwhelms me. I may be a rarity to say that, but even if you lose a few people in that route, a few is too many. I agree with you from a design aspect, that I think it was like that coupon at the bottom of that page just kind of looked a little outdated and a little bit, it didn't kind of fit with the total brand aesthetic. I agree with you on the PDP images. Turning them more into a value proposition is huge. I thought that was spot on. Even pulling up more of that before and after into that product carousel to show more about that would be a good idea. And as I'm saying this, I think, Nick, where you are going to get my vote, because what I really kind of aligned with as a consumer again was that build your routine. I truly feel like there is a master of thinking around how to grow that AOV and grow your bag, and you really have to meet the user where they are in the journey. So simply saying, hey, you may also like, or serving up product recommendations that are within the same category, the same collection, or what have you, instead of really thinking about it from where the user is, of, hey, when do I do this? I wash my face, I put on my toner, I do this XYZ, when do I put on my eye mask? So really kind of laying that out and being more educational, while also kind of secretly from like a CRO perspective, building that basket is huge. And then also making it easier to kind of complete that bag and complete that purchase. So Nick, you have my vote. Chelsea, like phenomenal job. I thought you both that was probably the hardest round yet, and also such a phenomenal brand to do this evaluation. And so kudos to you both.
I agree. This was very hard. If I could give my vote to both, I absolutely would, because I agreed with everything both of you said. Chelsea, you started with the tech part, the typography, the speed, very important. And a brand this big, it's like a user will be like, how can you let this happen, right? Like, you're so big, how are you having glitches? And then you just exit. So super important. The checkout 2.0, again, we've mentioned earlier, such a huge opportunity to increase that checkout to transaction rate with reviews and testimonials and upsells and value props. So really make use of that is so important. They're saying they're a medical grade skincare brand, right? And really honing in on the educational part is so important. So I love that you mentioned it. And the quiz, I know from my experience, most of the times the quizzes don't really work. It's just extra steps, and they're not great, but I've seen in cases it definitely does work, especially when it's like makeup and you need to choose your skin tone that you can't really test it on in real life, or skincare where it's like, oh, it's dry eyes or lips or whatever. So really making sure that quiz is optimized for brands like this is so important. So I love that you mentioned it. Nick, again, I know benefits are such an important thing, and not just mentioning the value props or the this is a skincare brand that will make your wrinkles go away. Like, what does that mean? How does that impact your life? Like, that's more important than just features of the product. So everything about the benefits that you mentioned is so important as well. The real estate, about the ribbon, the main navigation, just really making sure you're giving as much space as possible for users to actually understand the brand and not just taking up space that's not necessary. The white space you mentioned to add value props, also great call out. I think Amazon does a great job with most of their brands on there. And I loved the part where you mentioned I think Erin also mentioned where you are in your skincare. I could go in and look for an eye cream, but if I scroll and I see, oh, but there's more steps, there's a base, there's a sunscreen, it also doesn't just help me understand what a skincare routine should be, but it makes me want to actually buy more products than what I originally went for, because you're telling me that there's all these steps. So honestly, this was really hard. Again, I'd give my vote to both of you, but I will have to go with Nick because of the benefits and the routine and skincare, which is so important in brands like these. So great job, both of you. Amazing.
Perfect. All right. Well, congratulations, Nick, Cassie, back in the finals. So the next one that we have up is Zara. So Cassie, you got it. Take it away. Let's hear what we can do to optimize Zara.
All right. This is where I lost last time, guys. So just saying, I'll be offended if I lose again. No, just kidding. Okay. All right. Start my timer. So this is obviously a very highly stylized, brand forward